Good morning, friends. Today is a big day for me, and well, at least in my gardening world, it's a big day. Today is show day. Our Horticultural Society holds an annual flower and veggie show, and I'm participating right up to here. Have you ever put something that you created out there for people? It doesn't have to be online, but you take it to a show, to a whatever. It could be a car show, your nice shiny Corvette, or whatever, and a nice shiny motor, or a painting you did, or it could be anything, some peas you grew. What's important really is not the showing off, it's the showing up. And I think that's what life is really about. It's more about showing up, and we certainly don't want to be showing off. I'm participating in the garden show, and I'm showing up to, yes, sort of show off my garden produce, the flowers, the veggies. That's not the most important part, really. The most important part is that I'm trying to live my life to the fullest, really. And I hope you are too, because how long you live, is that really important? But showing up during that life, how you live it, who you are, that's what's really important. So being judged can be a bit unnerving, can't it? Things that you thought were really, really good, you made an amazing painting or whatever, but the judge says, nah, don't like your perspective, I don't like the color tone. But you do, and that's the important thing. There are many categories in our show, and one of them is arts and crafts, so to speak, not actually garden flowers or veggies, etc. So I'm entering a painting I've made, and I'm entering this little carving that I've made. It's a trout on one side, sort of jumping out of the water, and if you turn it over, I'm not sure how that's going to show up, but it's a beaver on the other side. I used to work as a geologist underground in a hard rock mining environment, and I found a piece of soapstone in a metamorphosed inclusion. So that's a piece of rock that's been pressure changed until it was from what it was until it's now soapstone. I used to sit at the shaft waiting for the cage to get to surface, and to fill that time a little bit constructively, I carved. I kept this in my pocket and I worked on it. I have no idea how long, doesn't matter. What doesn't matter is I was creating. So it's high time to get this stuff packed up safely into the car and off to the show. I produced really nice onions this year. Very nice. At least I think so, and I hope the judge thinks so too. Trick is to get them to the show looking as nice as they do now, not getting broken down. My dad used to work as a groundskeeper, and this is my entry into the houseplant division. It's an aloe, of course, and I only have one houseplant, but I think it's pretty nice, and I'm entering it. So as I was saying, my dad used to work as a groundskeeper, and he retired from that job when he was 87. In go the apples. I'll pack everything around the various plants to keep them from juggling around, and it's very important that the produce you get there isn't bruised or damaged in any way. So anyway, as I was saying again, Dad retired from his last job as a groundskeeper at the age of 87. He only did one building, and that's the building he used to work at until he retired out of his second retirement. A year before that retirement, the 87-year-old retirement, he was making pickles and preserves for sale at one little event that he used to go to in the fall. And he quit that at 86 because he said, son, he said, I'm afraid I'm going to drop the kettle. He said, it's getting really heavy. And that kettle was like that. It was big, and he was still doing it at 86. But he wisely said, that's enough. And I think we all need to know when to come to that understanding in our lives. When is enough enough? When we've done what we figure we can safely do, that doesn't mean you quit by any means. It might mean you shift your focus a bit. One of the categories is cucumbers. And I've got 3, and believe me, that's the only 3 decent looking cucumbers I own out of the garden this year, and they're small, but they're pretty nice looking. I've got a problem in the back end of the garden, and I'm not sure what it is, but I am suspecting that I have root feeding nematodes have moved in. And I have to get my microscope out and do some detective work and see if that's in fact the case. It's not a good thing by any means. So we keep going. Oh, there's, what else do we pack in? We're allowed one vegetable that's not listed in the show schedule, and this buttercup squash is my offering for that category. I grew them last year for the first time, and in my mineral-rich soil, they are unbelievably sweet. So in goes Ms. Buttercup. Who else has to go in there? One of the entries is an arrangement of 5 herbs. So I'm going to, because they're herbs and I use them for cooking and pickling and whatnot, I'm going to set them into a canning jar, because I think that'll be kind of appropriate. Oh my gosh, we need smell-o-vision. This dill is just, smells so good. So there's dill. Let me see. It'll get to be the framework to hold everything else up. And this is lemon verbena, makes the most wonderful tea. It's amazing. And for some more vertical element, and I have a bit of oregano. You have to have at least 5 different varieties in your display. And they all have to be herbs like you'd use in cooking. This is my rosemary, a stem of rosemary, and we're going to trim rosemary down to size. See how rosemary fits. Oh, I think she should do quite nicely, maybe right there. No, she needs to go back a little bit more, like maybe like so. Who else is in here? I have a little bit of Thai basil. I actually sold the really big stalks. They were like this. They were, I have a friend who really enjoys having my garden produce. So we'll put a little bit of Thai basil in there. And to finish this off, These are garlic chives. Unfortunately, they're not quite in flower yet, but they're still pretty. They add a nice vertical element. And how much vertical element do I want? Well, I'll go about like that. I'd like them to come to about here. So we'll just snip, snip. And let's see how that all looks. And then see if the judges think my judgment is okay. Oh my, well, I just broke one off. So that's my offering. So on to the flowers. This is an Annabelle hybrid hydrangea. This is called Incrediball. And if you can see, it's a pretty big bloom. So I'm going to try and put it into this little vase, just like that, so it sits upright. And this vase, it's not a vase, but it is now. It's the base of an old coal oil lamp that I got from my in-laws. Now that's not very good, is it, Garth? Making it stand upright might be a bit of a challenge. I think what I might do is, this is called a horticultural frog. It's brass pins, and I hope I don't need it elsewhere, but I'm going to use it here. So it will be a weight. Oh, that's not so good. It doesn't fit into the neck of the vase. And there's my offering of the rose category. You're allowed one type of rose outside the show specified categories, and this is a fairy rose. And every time I see my roses, and I have lots of them in the garden earlier in the year especially, every time I see this, I think of my dad and my mom. As I said, Dad worked at a building where he had access to the gardens. He did their grounds, he grew their roses, etc. And as the roses were available, he'd snip a bouquet off and take them home to Mom. She was more housebound than Dad was, and she just loved that. He had a very tender heart, and you would never know that just to look at him. He was a tough, hardened miner, but he had a soft heart, and he showed up to life that way. We have a category for a single large, or it doesn't have to be large, for one single stalk or stem of one flower. And I am going to use for that something that I'm growing this year for the second time. It's a perennial. This is a perennial arrangement, by the way. All of the pieces have to, in it have to be perennial or biennial. For my single flower perennial, I'm using this. It's an acanthus flower. So this is one stem off of many in the plant. The plant is, I'm 5'7", and the plant is, this part was taller than me in the garden. The leaves have to come off, and I'm working barefoot right now, so I am very careful where I put those leaves. And I'm not sure if you can see this, and I'm going to try and point it out. This plant, its nickname is Bear's Breeches, and I don't know why or how it got that name, but it should be called the porcupine plant. You can, does it show? Let me see. Right here. Can you see the little picks coming off of this petals? They are, I'm telling you, they make thistles look soft. They're just crazy, picky, sharp. Hence the gloves. So I have the vase I've just been showing you, but I also have this vase, and it may be more appropriate to the size of this. The other thing, and I think I'll use that one instead. The other thing that's difficult, you're not normally allowed to have anything in the vase except water and a frog, perhaps, to hold the plant still. This is so big, and I'm so concerned about it toppling over because you can't put anything around here to keep it stable, anything like that. But I did get permission from the show people, from our president, to use rocks in the bottom. So I think what I'm simply going to do is dump I washed all these rocks. Noisy, huh? I washed all these rocks yesterday. And then I think I'm going to take that down a little bit more with this vase. Ow, ow, picky. Even through these heavy work gloves, it's picky. Okay. Pardon the noise, but rocks and glass make noise. When I was thinking about this particular display piece, I actually sketched out what I thought it might look like, and that helps my brain think this thing through, especially when you got to get her done. This is commonly called an elephant ear, and I think it's just going to stay like that. Maybe I'll trim the bottom a little bit. Its proper name is alocasia, and it's kind of going to be the backdrop for this. It's the palette that I'm painting on. And then I have one more porcupine plant to come in and sort of lay on that like so. And I have to take that off. Oh, down about here, I think. Get that picky piece out of the way. Now, to kind of anchor this base, I'm going to put in a few of these very large hydrangea, the Incredible. They're just not, I selected them because I didn't want them as big as the other one. And we'll put that down in like that. And we'll see how this goes. And where do we want that one to go? And when I want to know the height, I just turn it upside down and say, I want the blossom to be about there. I'll tuck you in there. I don't know what we'll do. Maybe, do I want one in the back? I'm not a floral arranger by any means. Oh! But I am susceptible to pickies. I don't think I like that. You can't see that, I don't think, but I don't like that in there. And I might put this smaller one down here. So where do I want it? I think I like it to sit right tight in here. There, I like that. And I have, just for a little bit of more color to balance the bottom and the top. This is Tradescantia. It's quite a pretty purple variety. So I harvested all of these last night because I knew I wouldn't have time to harvest this morning, no matter if I got up way before the chickens. I don't think I need to put rocks in there because this vase is so heavy, and when I add a bit of water, it's another pound or two. I have 1, 2, 3, and I need 5. And this is number 4. This is a little lime hydrangea, but I like the lime against the purples that are here. Ow! I could find more varieties in the garden, but more is not always better. Sometimes less is more. And I think we'll just leave that like that. A little bit of little lime. Number 5 offering is these hosta flowers. Like that. So what do we think? Ow! I think it's time to put the gloves back on. Wants to fight, we put the gloves. Wants to fight, we put the gloves back on. Do we need anything else in there, or is that just enough? I think I'm going to call it quits on that. Well, I'm pretty pleased with that. It's as good as I think I can do anyway. And it's really time to get out of here. Put on some fancier duds. Not fancier, but more appropriate duds. Instead of my old sweatpants. And head for that show. Good morning, friends. This is just a little insert I want to stick into this preparation clip for the garden show. This is sort of the day after the night before, if you know what I mean. I was really tired last night. That was a lot of work. And just a note about my head cover. I'm just about to go over and help my neighbor who is cutting down a very large tree, and I get the firewood, which is really good. But I talked about my mining experience a little bit yesterday in the video, and yes, I did actually work in the mines, first as a laborer and then as a geologist. I entered 27 categories, and I placed first, second, or third in 20 of them. But you know what? I don't think I'm going to win first place. But that's okay. I think I might come in third or fourth, and that's okay, no matter where I come in. Because as I said, life is about showing up. And I meant that. So why will I probably not place like that or in the winner's circle? Because so many other members showed up for the day, and some of the entries were just gorgeous. I have a lot to learn from them, and I will. But as I said, the most important thing is showing up. Following the show judging, I made quite a few photographs of all the entries, not just the winning entries. So enjoy the shots as we go through this, and you don't have to look at me for all of that time. You can look at something much prettier. One last thing, if I may. As you can probably tell, looking at my channel stats, I'm an old guy starting a new channel. And if you think you might like stuff that an old guy talks about, does, the things that I'm doing, then I'd truly appreciate it if you could, as they say, like, subscribe, and comment. It'll really help me. It makes me feel good too. Thank you. So folks, as always, I like to ask you not to forget to remember life begins with the soul. Health begins with the soil. Little things matter, and so do you. So don't forget to show up. You're not a little thing, but the little things you do matter. See you again, my friends. Off to the show.